Welcome back, everybody. So this week I spent a lot of time up here in the shop. I mean, a lot of time. But it doesn't really look like I got a lot done. So it's been a lot of painting, primer painting, detail stuff. I was working on getting some extra wiring added to the engine compartment. The battery cables are a frustration for me. I've got the photo etch battery clamps, and then the wires for those. Personally, I think the wire is a little bit oversized for scale. It might be better at 1/24th than 1/25th. Anyway, trying to get those clamps attached to the wire and then getting that attached to the model without some part of it falling off has just been a real frustration. So I've got each battery cable, the black and the red, connected at one point or another, but they're not fully connected at both ends. So I'm still working on that. Let me show you a little bit of the work I did on the trailer earlier in the week, and then I'll show you near the end of this where I'm at so far. All right? I moved over from my white cutting mat over to my green one beside it because I'm going to be using a lot of white plastic. I'm getting started on making more of the details for my trailer. And in last week's video, I mentioned the wheels that I was going to use out of the 41 Plymouth kit. And I thought, maybe I'll modify those. But after that, I found online a supplier of other aftermarket parts. And this is actually a race wheel. Let me see if I can find... Yeah, here we go. Plastic Performance Products. 70s slotted weld style 10-inch wide wheels. So they're originally for like NASCAR, right? But they seem perfect for what I need on a trailer. Now this is unpainted. It's just, these are the tires from the Plymouth, the white walls. And they fit perfect. The only issue I'm going to have is the wheel backs. So this is the wheel back that actually comes with it, and you can see how wide that is, right? It's for 10-inch tires, I guess. Anyway, for racing tires. But that's way too wide for what I need. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'll probably, with a very fine saw off this centerpiece for the axle, and then we'll glue that to the back of the wheel half. So that'll provide me my axle support. But what I'm getting ready to do right now is make the leaf springs. I cut my leaves for the leaf spring out of 40 thousandths sheet styrene. They are 1/8 of an inch wide, which is the same width as the square tubing I used to create the frame of the trailer. All right, measurement for length, I kind of eyeballed it, but I was using the photo for reference, and we went roughly the width of a tire, with just a little bit extra because we're going to put a bend in it, right? Leaf springs are bent. And to get the right curvature of the bend, I'm just using a rat tail file, and I'm going to lay this so my longer spring goes on, and then I've got these 1, 2, 3 weights to just sit on there, and whoops. I kind of knew that was going to happen. All right, so we need to set these on the edge to get us that bend, and then I'm going to carefully, probably with my tweezers, come in with the next leaf for the leaf spring. And you know, this one I might just give it a little pre-bend in my hand. All right. But we'll lay that one on top of the other. Get everything straight in here. All right, so that one's on there. And then our third one, the last one, and we'll do the same. We'll give it a little pre-bend. And we will lay this one on. Now, with my Tamiya extra thin, I'm just going to hit the edge on each side. Let's use these tweezers to push down. Okay, so I'm gonna have to tweak that just a little bit, but you can see. All right, so it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the other thing I did, I don't know how visible it is, but I filed off the corners, or sanded off the corners of each leaf, so they didn't have a sharp corner to them. All right, I just got 3 more of those to make. There's 4 leaf springs, and they run in tandem, so they'll be similar to this. All right, on each side of the trailer. Now, what I still have to make, there's a, I don't know what you call it. It's a bracket of some sort that goes between them, so they're hinged here and here on this bracket, and then that bracket is hinged to the trailer in the middle above that. In fact, where these are attached to the bracket, there's other brackets that go in between it. So I'll show you in a picture. So I still got to make that, and then the attachment for the other ends under the trailer. Most of what I've done this week, though, has been some of the detail stuff, the accessories that are going to go into the diorama to fill it up. And I showed you all that before I started painting. Some of these are not finished yet. So this is it's a 0-turn walk-behind mower, right? So it's got a little bit of weathering done to it. I don't have the rear tires put on it yet. It's still going to get some grease and grime and more grass stain. The green staining on it now is just paint, but I'm going to add some what looks like grass clippings. So we'll get that. This is an oxygen bottle from the oxyacetylene welding set. I don't know, is that going to focus? Maybe. So it's going to get a little bit more weathering as well. Some rust rings, where the bottles might contact each other. So that one's still in progress. I finished this one last week, actually. This is my boom box. I think I might need to go over it again with the clear blue. So the long tuner strip near the top, that's got clear blue in it, but I might need to add a little more because it's almost impossible to see. Oops. And then got the wheels done for the Mustang. All right, and they've been sprayed with a flat clear coat, the Tamiya flat clear. All right, and then those will get some weathering in the form of oils, maybe some paints. So we'll get some more age added to them. They're still too clean and shiny. So that's still a work in progress, like all of it is really. I've got some tools. Here's those C-clamps. The C-clamps are done. That hammer, the ball peen hammer, is just in primer. It's not painted yet. What else? Here is an oil can and a gas can that were primered and sprayed in aluminum. Why I sprayed the oil bottle in aluminum, I'm not real sure. So anyway, that's just more that's not done yet. So here's one of the toolboxes, the bigger of the two that I have. And I've added, some bumper stickers onto it. That one says, call a mechanic. He'll repair what your husband fixed. And then the one on the top says, Jesus is coming, look busy. That's my sense of humor. Here is our Lincoln Electric welding unit. All right, so it's painted and got the decals added to it. All right, and it'll still need some dusting, some aging. All of this will end up with that. Here's another small toolbox. The lid for it, I have not attached it yet. I'm still debating whether I'm going to leave it open or shut. And then a bunch of stuff still in primer to work on. So some milk crates, some gas cans, some spray paint cans, my jack stands. I've actually got two sets of jack stands. One is the extended version, and then the other set is the shorter version. So I grabbed one of the extended and used 3 of the shorter non-extended version. And we've got 3 paint cans, 2 without lids or caps, and 1 with a cap, and then 2 different tops to our paint cans, one with the pouring spout and one with just the metal cap on it, and our 3 milk crates. So this is all stuff that's going to go into our scene. And then here's that engine crane, and I've started to do a little bit of weathering on it. So after I primed this, I also painted this with aluminum and then mixed up this green color, which very closely resembles what I have for a reference photo on this. But what it still needs is a lot of rusting, and obviously the chain needs to be painted in a different color, something rusty chain, I guess. But that's looking pretty good. Oh, I did spray several of these with the Ammo MIG chipping fluid, and then you activate that with water after you paint it. So you can see where I've rubbed away some of the green and the aluminum underneath is showing through. So those areas where the aluminum is showing through, that's where most of the rust will get added to it. But you'll have that little bit of a metal look in the rust, so that should work out pretty good. And then I've got from Matthew at MCV Products, I purchased a full engine. I don't recall exactly what engine it is. I should look that up. But it doesn't really matter, because what I'm going to do, you see here I've got the block, I've got one head, and I've got both of the exhaust headers. These are just in primer now, but I'm going to paint them as though it's a torn apart, broken down engine, right? So it's going to get a steel color and some rust color to it, and some wetness to indicate oil, and you name it. But it'll end up looking like a torn down engine. And that's probably, I think I'm going to set that on a tire. I've got a spare tire. I think I'm going to heat it up and see if I can press this engine into it and let it cool, and maybe that'll show some weight of the engine on it. It's still an idea. I haven't worked it out just yet. And then, you know, if you're gonna have a barn find, someone has to find it. And I posted this in a video earlier in the week. This is Kate. She is 1/24th scale, but she is small enough that she's going to fit into our scene just perfect. So she's in primer now. I had to do a little bit of sculpting. So her hair is actually like 3 pieces that come together, and the top of her head, they didn't come together as well as they should have. So I had to add some styrene in there, and then using the Tamiya cement to soften it, I took an old X-Acto blade and kind of helped create more of the hair follicles in it to match the rest of the hair. So it's looking pretty good. I still need to do a little bit of light sanding on that. The primer just got sprayed about an hour ago, so there's still work to be done. I actually used some more styrene to fill in some gaps on her posterior. She had, because the leg halves come together right where our leg halves come together, but it was just too much of a gap for the pair of jeans that she's wearing, so we had to fill that. Other than that, it actually went together pretty well. I mean, it's very, very much like the box art. The only difference I noticed between this and the box art, which isn't a big deal to me, but in the box art, she's wearing more of a low-cut shirt, and her necklaces are on her bare chest, whereas in this, the shirt she's wearing, the collar actually comes up to her neck, and her necklaces are over her shirt. Fine with me, all right? She doesn't need to be any more scantily clad than she is. So that's Kate. And I got a little bit ahead of myself working on my trailer in the fact that I've already started to paint it. And I wasn't really thinking, because I've got a few details to add to it still. Namely, as in the brake lights. So we got to have some brake lights on the rear. I need to fabricate the, I don't know what you call it, the wheel, the jack wheel that you set it on when it's not on the hitch. I don't know what you call that. I'm sure it's got a name. And then I might, put a little battery box and run some wires back to our brake lights and a pigtail up front to connect to our tow vehicle. But yeah, so it's working out pretty good. I still got to put balsa wood down in the top of it, get that stained adequately and properly. But we're getting there. It's getting really, really close. I've still got a lot of work to do, though. I have not yet started to work on the barn itself. Barn, shed, yeah, something in that concept. And then the base that it's going to be on, I have to cut a piece of wood for that. I have a piece. It's actually from Hobby Lobby. It's really like a plaque piece of wood, so it's got routed edges on it. It's just a little bit too small, so I've got a piece of pine shelf wood that I'm going to cut a little bit bigger than that piece I have, and that's going to be our base. And I'm going to stop predicting what I'm going to do for next week's video, because like this week, I've spent days now in my shop just doing a lot of this detail stuff, priming and painting, and yeah, and I still got a lot more to do. So my days off for Thursday and Friday, I actually took a vacation day today, which is Saturday. I still have to work Sunday, a 7-hour day tomorrow, and then I'm off for the holiday on Monday, and I go back to work Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I'm off on my regular Thursday and Friday again next week. So I've got a lot more time off this week, and I'm getting a lot done. It just doesn't feel like it because I've got so much more yet to do. But thanks for tuning in, and I hope to have a lot more to show you in completion by next week. But like I said, I'm not gonna forecast what that might be. Just bear with me. Things are getting done slowly but surely. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Go Irish, and whoever your favorite college football team is, I wish them well too. Peace and love.